Hello, 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 and welcome to the Good, the Bad, and the Confident podcast. I'm your host, Rachel, the confidence coach. And after months of not recording a podcast, I am back for yet another podcast. I'm so excited to be back in this space. I'm so excited because I'm in the process of what I would call a mini rebrand, just in terms of my business. I'm doing some restructuring of things so that they better align in terms of services and products and things like that. And just really creating a new rhythm after coming off of one of the busiest years of my life. Literally, from January all the way to August, I had significant and big events going on. And so I'm finally in the space where I'm able to activate that creative part of my brain, right? Where I'm able to start making some new things and doing some new things. And I'm not always forced to be having something big like a wedding or big like graduations or big like prom. I'm able to actually focus on just the regular rhythm of life and just get back into the space that I've needed to get back into when it comes to creating for my business. Um, I have a lot that I want to do, and the only way that these things are going to happen is if I get to work and I do them. So I am here for today's episode. If you are not a part of my email list, I highly recommend that you get on the bandwagon there because as I am rebranding, there are some new things that I have coming up. For instance, I have an in-person event on August the 27th, and that event specifically is for the working woman who desires to live out the version of themselves that's in their head in real life. And so during that workshop that I will be hosting, we will activate some stuff. We will collaborate, we will support and hold others accountable. And so I'm looking forward to that. And so you need to be on my email list in order to get that information. So subscribe to my website at racheltheconfidencecoach.com. That's Rachel, Rachel, theconfidencecoach.com for more information. Also, if you're not already following me on social media, follow me at Rachel, the Confidence Coach, on all social platforms except Twitter or X. So they call it now, where on X, I am Hey Coach Rachel. So today's episode. I'm not even quite sure on what I would even title this episode, but I'm sure by the end of it, I'll have something that I can title this. But as of now, I don't have a title for it. And I am okay with that because it will come to me by the time I publish it. But what I want to talk about today is I talk to so many women on a daily basis who are all suffering from the same thing. And majority of the women that I talk to are early upper 30s all the way up to I would say early 50s. And it seems like every woman that I talk to is experiencing the same thing. And all of these women, including myself, are tired. And I'm not talking about tired that we experienced in 2019 before the pandemic or anything like that. I'm talking about a soul tired, a tired that you can't fulfill by a night's rest, or a tired that you can't fulfill by taking a day off and using your PTO. No, these women are tired, tired of making decisions, tired of always being on, tired of always having to go and be at the front line of just stuff. Literally tired. And so my question for you is, are you a tired woman? I'll answer for me, and I'm tired. And one way that I am able to know that I'm tired, and when I say tired, I'm talking about stress and things like that. One way that I am able to determine if I'm tired is I notice that I don't cook. It is literally like the thought to cook, the desire to cook, The want to cook goes out of the window when I become overwhelmed, when I become stressed. And so I know I'm in this space because I haven't cooked. And I'm not just saying for like a day or two. I'm talking maybe 2, 3 weeks, maybe two. Give myself a little bit more credit. But regardless of the fact, I have not cooked. Um, and that's an indicator for me. Another indicator for me is I sleep a lot. When I am extremely stressed, I sleep a lot. And it's not that I'm necessarily sleeping because I'm tired, but I'm just overwhelmed. And the easiest thing to do to stop it is to go to sleep. And so I sleep a lot. And so have been two places that I've been in. And because I have gone through having a whole lot to do, right? Always being on, always being making decisions and things like that, and always being pulled here, always moving and going and living this active life. Um, the space that I've been in recently, had I experienced what I experienced this year in 2018, would have took me out. And when I say it would have took me out, it would have took me out in terms of mentally, like legit on the verge of a nervous breakdown, if not there, and trying to recover from it. Okay. Literally nervous breakdown situation in terms of stuff that I've had going on. Which is unfortunate because I've had a beautiful year at the same time. But it's been a lot of little stuff, a lot of little stuff that I've had to pull a different strength from myself that I didn't know that I needed to have, or I wasn't planning to have to go into my reserves in terms of my mental reserves, my emotional reserves, my psychological reserves for now, but I've had to. And so I've experienced burnout before. I've experienced a mental breakdown before. And so I am thankful that in 2024, I have the tools to not experience that again. I have the tools to make sure that, A, I don't go back to the hospital. Because one thing that I've told my kids and my husband and everybody else around me, I don't care what is going on in the world. I am not going back to the ER because of anxiety, panic attacks, and stress for anybody or anyone. And another thing that I'm not doing for anyone besides going to the ER because my heart is palpitating and I'm feeling like I'm about to die and I'm having these sweats and stuff. Besides that, I don't care what's happening in the world because again, I've been there before. I'm not going back to the hospital and I'm not looking ugly for nobody. I'm just not. But that's all because I have the tools now. Because guess what? I did before. I went to the hospital a couple times because of anxiety and panic. I was looking ugly because of anxiety and panic, and I'm not doing that anymore. And I don't care what happens, I'm just not. And so because I'm not, there are some tools that I use that maybe you don't know about, that maybe you know a woman who's in this space who needs to know them, that I'm going to give you today. And so I have 3 practical life tools, life hacks that I like to call them in terms of not getting to that point that I want to share with you today. Okay. So one thing that I do to not get back to the space of anxiety, panic, and overwhelmed with stress and things like that is the first thing that I do is I plan my week and my month ahead of time. I plan my week and my month ahead of time. The reason that I do that is because when I know what I have going on, I don't have to guess. I don't have to think. It literally frees up mind space in my mind because it's on the calendar and I literally know what I have to do. Okay. I plan my week on my reset day. So I know exactly what's going on for the week. I know what's going on with my kids, with my husband, with me, business and work. I know what's going on. So because I'm able to have visibility of what I have going on, it's less likely for me to overcommit myself, right? Not that it doesn't happen, right? Because sometimes I get a little, I can, but it's not often. because I have the visibility and I'm able to say, like, yeah, Tuesday I got a whole bunch of stuff going on. I ain't gonna have no time to fit nothing else in. And I don't. Or Thursday, I got a little bit of stuff going on. That would be a good day for me to cook instead of having to order out and things like that. You need to know your plan. You need to know what it is you have going on, because without that information, it is easier and easier and easier to pick up more than you need to pick up, to overcommit more than you need to overcommit. And it's just not healthy. It's just not a good feeling. It's just not a good life practice to operate that way. So my suggestion is for you to plan your week or your month ahead of time. I'm not saying plan the week the day of. No, don't plan your day the day of, because you're already behind. Plan your week ahead of time. That's been a major life hack for me. And just so y'all know that I'm not just saying that if you're watching this video, I still use a physical planner. Okay. Because I practice what I coach. I still rely on my digital calendar. Okay. And just so y'all know I'm not lying again, I'm gonna pull this one down for you. I still use one of these. I use one of these bad boys. And I plan a month in advance. Okay. So I know what my month looks like. So that's number one. Number two is having a practical reset day. What you mean, Rachel, by have a practical reset day? The world tells us that we should be resetting every Sunday. We should be resetting every Sunday. Sunday, do this. Sunday, clean. Sunday, cook. Sunday, do your laundry. Sunday, do this. All this stuff happens on Sunday, to the point where guess what? More than likely, you was running around doing stuff on Saturday, and you running around the house on Sunday to get stuff taken care of. At what point have you had a day to actually rest? Like legit rest. And what I mean by that is like do nothing. Refill yourself. Step away from some stuff. Not be responsible. When have you had that? Right? If everything has to happen on Sunday for the next week. So what I've now adapted is Sunday wasn't always the best day for me to reset. It just wasn't. So my reset day is Thursdays. Thursdays is the day that I'm do laundry, that I take care of the stuff that I need to take care of, so that when Sunday comes, I can do Sunday things. Sometimes Sunday things for me look like doing homework and things like that, picking up my son for when he goes with his dad and things like that. But if I'm trying to reset and I got to think about all this homework that I got to do, and I got to go drive to get my son, and I got to try to do this and try to do all that, guess what? I'm burnt out. So waking up Monday is hard as hell. And it's not necessarily hard because, it's hard because I haven't had the opportunity to rest and allow my brain to just stop. So one word of advice, or one thing that I suggest, is finding a practical reset day that works for you. That's not necessarily a day that society tells you to do, because that may not work for you right now in this particular season. Now, I'm not saying that Sunday is not a good day to reset. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is make sure that the day that you decide to reset and take care of the things that you need to do, make sure that day is practical to your life and your circumstances right now. Amen. Number three, listen, just like I plan my week ahead of time, I have a practical reset day. One thing that has saved me tremendously is I measure my capacity every day. I no longer operate on fumes just because I want to check boxes and get stuff done, because that's not fair to me. That's not fair to the people I need to serve in my house. That's not fair to my clients that I have to show up for. That's not fair to my job. I have to check my capacity every single day. And I have to not only check my capacity and be honest with myself, I have to be honest with the people that are around me. Because if I'm not, guess what? They're not going to have a good experience of me either. They're just not. And so it is important that we check our capacity. Can you do this today? You know, written out your week ahead of time. You've allowed yourself to have that practical reset day. So now it's Thursday. Something else comes on your plate. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You're looking on the internet. You see something coming up, or you should buy that. Is that the best thing that you can do right now? And when I say capacity, I'm not just talking about physically, I'm talking about financially, emotionally, psychologically. Can you pick up the phone right now and talk to your friend who has a whole bunch of stuff to talk about? Do you have the capacity for it? Or if you answer that phone, by the end of that phone call, will you be depleted and have nothing else for your family after that phone call? If the answer is yes, you don't need to pick up the phone because you don't have the capacity to do so. Should you start, a new workout regimen and things like that if it's the weekend of your birthday and all that stuff? Maybe. But by a show of hands, some people like to do a little extra for their birthday. You don't have the capacity to do all that right now. And so I say that to say, check your capacity and be so in tune with you that nothing slips through the crack where you're like, nope, I don't. Be so honest with you that you don't have the opportunity to lie to someone else about something that you can do that you really can't do. Amen. So these are ways that these are ways and these are tools that I use that I'm recommending that you use when it comes to avoiding burnout, avoiding being overstressed and overstimulated. Because sometimes we ain't even stressed, we just overstimulated because we got so much going on. And so these are things that I use to help me. Not that those things don't happen, right? I still get stressed, I get overstimulated, all of that. But when I'm able to slow down and gather myself, I do these three things. Sorry. Number one is I plan my week ahead of time. Two, I have a practical reset day. And three, I measure my capacity every single day. I hope the information I shared here was helpful to someone. If not helpful to you, I hope that it is helpful to a friend or 10. So my ask is that you do me a favor and support me, that you support me by sharing this podcast, by sharing this video if you're watching, because you sharing is what I need. It's an act of service that I need in order to just continue to do the things that I know that God has called me to do. And so I appreciate you. Thank you in advance. And keep manifesting, keep believing, and keep taking care of yourself. We'll talk soon.